And after a long-awaited 8 months. Hey! What is up, you guys? It's me, Lauren, and officially, welcome to Season 2 of House of Anubis. Stop! I know, okay? I know. The universe didn't want you guys to have this. For sure, for true, it didn't want you to have this, because after my little 6-month stint of not being able to work on the Season 2 video essay, I came home and logged on to Paramount Plus. I said, that little meme, and they wiped House of Anubis off the face of the platform. Yeah. Every single episode. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. They took it all off. I thought they were playing a nasty little joke to me. They were like, oh my gosh, you can watch it on Prime. No, the rights are expired. So yeah, that's nice. $60 down the drain. I now own all of Season 2 and part of Season 1. And then my laptop had issues. My speaker was not working correctly. Had to send it out to go be fixed. But don't worry, you guys. Don't worry. I was near the end of the part 1 watch through script writing, so it was all good. Got my laptop back in quick time. Shout out to the people who did that. And then I was like, okay, I can start writing the first script. Let me be ahead of the game and order my photos now. And then they never came. So I was like, okay, I'll just order a second set of photos. And then those never came either. I have a third set on the way. I tried to ask them for a refund. They didn't want me to. The only thing that actually came on time, of course, I had to order a crew neck. Okay, and you know what? SIBUNA, bitch. Yes, I did order a crew neck. This is the only thing that actually worked out for me. Shout out to the people. It's the same people who made my Babysitter's a Vampire one. I will be linking their store in the description yet again. Go support them for your embroidering needs. I don't know what to say. Now that Season 2 is here, I want to thank you guys so much for all the love and attention Season 1 keeps getting. I love waking up to every couple of months new people either commenting or liking. It is truly like the greatest gift when it came to that video. When I uploaded it, I thought it was gonna make, vampire video numbers, and which was like relatively small, but no, y'all shot that shit high. Okay, and now here we are, Season 2. Shout out to the guy who commented in February, where is Season 2? It's right here, babe. It's right here. No matter what the universe tried to do. It's here, and it's here for you. So even though I might not be in the room that I was for Season 1, it's just upstairs. It's just full of shit, and I didn't want to deal with it. We have returned to the blue wall of the vampire video, and the corkboard. The corkboard hath returned, but this time it's empty because we're going to be building the board, okay? It's going to be kind of like a murder board. I know I did a murder board last time where the lines connected, but like we're going to connect it, okay? We're going to connect it as we go, like you would when you're solving a mystery, okay? Because I thought it would be fun. Even if my photos are kind of disgusting because I had to print them off at my printer at home, we're going to build a little murder board, okay? Things will be revealed. Things will be added. We will be asking questions. I have fun little stuff planned. Don't you guys worry about it, okay? Okay? And now that I've explained kind of the board and the lack of stuff on it except for the word SIBUNA, let's recap Season 1. It's been a while. It's been almost a year. So at the end of Season 1, we found out that Miss Joy is in fact not dead, okay? She was being like somewhat held captive by the society because she was believed to be the chosen one, who is a descendant of the god Amneris, and she was not. The chosen one is supposed to build the Cup of Ankh, and then the society, or really anyone, can drink the elixir from life from it and live for eternity. Turns out Miss Nina, the American exchange student, is the chosen one. She shares the same birthday as Joy, just 12 hours apart. She successfully builds the cup, but she refuses to let the society drink out of it. Yeah, wrong. And so she is visited by the ghost of Miss Sarah. Sarah is, her family owns Anubis house, and they're the ones who brought the cup to America. She's like, hide it, destroy it, protect it. And so Miss Nina did. She ended up hiding it under the stage in the auditorium, and that's the end of season 1. So let's jump right into season 2. So, first episode, season 2. We are arriving back to school. It's a new term. Everyone's excited to be back, okay? Joy is finally back. She's going to have a normal school year. Patricia is excited because Joy is going to be there. Fabian is excited because him and Nina are dating. Fabian the Truthers, where are you? You're out there. You're out there, okay? The Sethan shippers, they didn't get it, but us, the Fabiana shippers, we have it. They're excited. We're excited. Miss Nina is coming back. Here's the scene of her and Fabian seeing each other for the first time. Y'all, it's so awkward. And I'm glad it feels so awkward because it should be awkward because they're teenagers. Anyways, Nina's first pit stop in returning back to Anubis house is to check on the cup of Ankh and see if anyone has found it. They have not. And instead of keeping it under the stage for some random reason, she decides to take it with her. Don't know why. It seemed pretty safe there, but she ends up taking it back to the house with her. Yes, she does. And that night at dinner, Amber plans a SIBUNA reunion. Nice to know that SIBUNA is a kickin' and a rollin'. During dinner, too, we also find out that Victor, that idiot, is still planning the elixir. So let's fill our board with some people. Okay? Let's fill our board with some people. So the SIBUNA meeting happens that night after dinner. It's late. It's that night. They sneak up to the cellar. So our SIBUNA members are going to be Nina, Fabian, Amber, Patricia, and Alfie. No more Jerome. He technically wasn't really initiated in, but he joined for safety. So let's put the rest of the SIBUNA members up in the SIBUNA category. Anyways, during the meeting, Patricia reveals that Rufus is dead. R.I.P. Rufus. Fuck you. And while SIBUNA's having a little fun time and they're laughing and they're giggling and they're reminiscing about stuff, the rest of the Anubis house members, Joy, Mara, Mick, and Jerome, come up and they're like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, Joy, this is a welcome party for you. And she's like, while I'm asleep. And they're like, we were going to come get you. And Amber goes to pull out another sheet for the little friends. And when she pulls the sheet off, it reveals a dollhouse that looks exactly like Anubis. Unfortunately, Amber ends up dropping the dollhouse on Alfie's foot. He makes a loud noise. It catches Victor's attention. And he's like, oh, y'all are already getting in trouble? Come downstairs so you don't get in trouble more. So everyone runs downstairs, floods downstairs. Not Nina, because Nina still has the cup of Ankh and has to keep it in a hiding place. And she's looking around. This is the last time she was up in the attic when Jerome, Alfie, and Patricia were hazing her. She's looking around, and her locket yet again saves the day, and it finds another secret compartment. I don't know how these bitches built this house. It's insane, because they have so many secret compartments, it's crazy. Anyway, she finds a secret compartment. Before Victor can come up and catch her, she's able to hide the cup in the secret compartment. But he does come up and catch her in the attic, and she's like, and ends up knocking over shit and breaks a doll. And Victor gets mad at her because, he's sentimental. Also, I was thinking about this the other day when I was rewatching episode 1. This was Victor's home. So you know what? I fear I have to stand with his little attitude about them being disrespectful of the house. This is his home. These are his childhood things. She needs to be more respectful. Anyways, Nina is going to leave the attic, and Victor picks up the broken doll, and it's like a pull string doll, and he pulls the doll's string, and it reads out a message. An Athenaeum is the place to look. Lift the wings to find the book. Hidden in this book of old, water of life, tears of gold. So, welcome, everybody. We have our first clue, okay? We have our first clue. It's time to start. It's officially Nina v. Victor yet again. So, as our resident enemies, besties do. They run to their best friends. Nina runs to Fabian. Victor runs to Mr. Sweet, and they tell each of them the message. And Fabian's like, oh my gosh. And Athenaeum is another word for library. We should go to the library and see if the book is there. Victor is telling Sweet the message as well, and he believes that this book of old the doll talks about is this book of Isis, and that the tears of gold are the missing ingredients to the elixir that he's been trying to make since season 1. Well, actually for many years, but as far as we know, since season 1. Nina and Fabian decide to sneak away from school that day and go to the Frobisher library. It's like a library kind of, it's on campus, but it's not in the main school. And when they arrive, the door is already open. That's because Victor and Sweet are already, Sweet is on here. Victor and Sweet are already looking for the book, and they like kind of peek in. They're looking around. They can't find anything. And Victor's like repeating the message, and he's like, lift the wings. Well, what could that mean? And he looks at the spiral staircase railing, and it looks like they have wings, and he turns them, and it opens a secret compartment. But the book ain't there. No, the book is not there. So Victor is rightfully upset, because he just wants to find this damn elixir, you guys. In typical Nina and Fabian fashion, they are loud as fuck and end up getting caught by Victor. And Victor automatically thinks that the kids have the book of old, or the book of Isis, so he believes it. And when they return to Anubis' house, Nina expresses that she is worried about what Victor is doing, because, you know, elixir, all this evil thing. Like, literally, these kids were going to die last year. So it's, like, rightful for her to be worried. And Fabian's like, don't you worry about it, girl. The cup is destroyed and the elixir is gone. But the cup is not destroyed. Nina says she wishes she could dream of Sarah again. Remember, after Sarah passed away in season 1, she would dream of her, and she would give her clues and, like, help her out to figure out how to find the cup pieces and what to do next. But she's dead as a doornail. And she no longer can. So Amber's like, oh my gosh, like, read this book I have. It'll tell you how to control your dreams. So that night, Nina takes into account what the book says, and she ends up dreaming. She, like, walks down the front stairs of Anubis' house, and she's like, Sarah. But Sarah doesn't come to her. Oh no. Victor comes to her instead. He says, don't you worry, chosen one. Wipe your eyes. Dry your tears. And she, like, dries her tears, and she's crying tears of gold. Like the doll said. She's crying tears of gold. And then the dollhouse, which I haven't put up on the board, the dollhouse attic lights up. The next night, Nina and Fabian sneak up to the attic for a little datey date. And just as they're about to kiss, like, my man just wants a kiss. Okay, he hasn't been able to kiss his girlfriend in months. Just as they're about to kiss, the secret compartment where Nina has hidden the cup begins to light up. And then Amber walks in, so Jake crashed, everything's going on, and she's like, oh yeah, so I actually forgot to tell you guys, the cup is indestructible, and I have to keep it up here, but it keeps glowing, so I don't know what to do about that issue. Amber originally went up to the attic in hopes that SIBUNA was starting up again. At this point, SIBUNA is really just, like, their own little secret club. They're like, hee hee hoo hoo ha ha. We, like, solved puzzles and slayed shit. Like, yes, but that's about it. There's nothing really more. I actually really do think that Nina just doesn't want any drama happening this year. Unfortunately, she doesn't get that luxury. And she's like, no, not happening. That's not what we're doing. But the night is ruined, so let's go back downstairs. Poor Fabian is distraught. And as they go back downstairs, from the secret compartment where the cup is, sprouts some black smoke, which follows Nina down to her bedroom and looms over her, turning into a woman. Here she is. Hopefully you can see her. Like I said, I have bad printer ink. The post office really let me down here, okay? They really let me down here, and I'm frustrated. That next morning, Victor is told by Trudy that he has received a letter that was, like, slipped under the door. It was hand delivered. And while he's distracted with the letter, she's like, Victor, can I turn that attic into a bedroom? And he goes, shut up, bitch, and get away from me. Yes, you can. Do whatever you want. That letter says, secure the exhibition and find the Book of Isis. So Victor thinks now that because of this letter, the Book of Isis will be in this exhibition called The Treasures of Egypt. Funnily enough, his bestie boo, Mr. Sweet's friend, is the one that's like headlining the exhibit, and he's like, call up your friend right now. I'm so dead serious, don't play with me, Mr. Sweet. Call up your friend right now and demand that we get to place a bid for this exhibit. And as Trudy is on her mission to clean out the attic to turn it into a bedroom, she ends up finding the dollhouse. Victor does freak out on her, and he's like, don't touch the shit on this side of the room. I'll deal with it. Like, leave it alone. Unfortunately, dollhouse is not on that side of the room. So she ends up throwing it in the trash. But luckily, our King Alfie, he's over here. Alfie, who is trying to get Amber's attention in a ploy to become her boyfriend, knows that Amber loves this because she was talking about it when they were in the attic, and saves it for her and gives it to her. So now Amber is in possession of this beautiful dollhouse, which is a good choice because we know it lights up. So that means it could potentially be helpful, huh? Because of the attic being cleaned out, Nina worries that the cup is in danger, even though it literally is locked in a secret compartment that only her locket, that only she can use, can open. Fabian reassures her that it's fine, but she goes upstairs anyway to check the cup, and as she's looking at it, this woman finally appears to her. And Nina's like, who are you? What do you want? She won't tell Nina what her name is. But she tells Nina that she must find the mask of Anubis or she will die. Now, a threat on your life is pretty scary. Okay, we can all agree that a threat on our life is pretty scary. So Nina wakes the next morning to believe that what happened last night, the encounter with the ghost woman, is all just a dream until she finds the cup of Ankh under her bed. And then she's like, oh shit, there's a spirit after me that wants to kill me. Anyways, to brighter things, Victor has successfully convinced Sweet to talk to his friend on placing a bid for the exhibit Treasures of Egypt, and he is asking students to help put together a committee to set up their bid. Both Nina and Fabian decide to volunteer to be on this committee because they believe that maybe just some way it will have some clues as to what they're looking for. And you know what? Maybe they're right, because while they're in the library, Nina ends up finding a book about the Mask of Anubis. Here's the Mask of Anubis. Oh. The book says that the Mask of Anubis is fictional and that no one has seen it, but when worn, will weep tears of gold. Get used to tears of gold. We're going to be talking about that a lot. And because this mask weeps tears of gold, guess what? I already said this, but now we're for sure in action. It is officially Nina versus Victor again. During the bed setup, Mr. Sweet gives Fabian like a catalog of all the things that are going to be in the exhibit, and one of them is this replica mask. Guess who made the mask? I'll give you 5 seconds. Wrong. It was Louisa Frobisher Smythe, Sarah's mother. So Nina and Fabian theorize that at some point she must have seen the real mask itself, kind of confirming that it does exist. You guys remember that hole from the girls' bathroom into Mr. Sweet's office that the kids, specifically Patricia, would often look through to spy on what Mr. Sweet is doing? Yeah. Nina utilizes that again to spy on a little argument, a little lover's spat, if you will, between Victor and Mr. Sweet, because Victor is mad that Mr. Sweet gave one of the kids on the committee, Fabian, the Treasures of Egypt catalog, because he thinks that even though the Book of Isis is not specifically put in there, that it is there under a secret name. And Nina, she's raring to go tell Fabian about this. And like some context, we're not completely talking about character relationships here. Nina and Fabian are having a really tough time with their relationship. Anyways, Fabian like told her to stop talking because he was supposed to read her a poem. Anyways, she runs to go tell Fabian, like, what she overheard after being mad at him. And he's, like, uncharacteristically aggressive with her. Like, he would never hurt a fly. And yet he's, like, grabbing her harshly. And she's shocked. But it turns out that wasn't Fabian, no. It was the ghost lady. She tells Nina that the mask is closed and she can feel it, and to ask the one who knows. But Nina wakes up the next morning marked. This is the mark. This is the mark that Nina has on her arm. So let's put it on our picture. because when anything important happens to Nina, she has to immediately tell Fabian, even though they have been tiffing. She runs to Fabian and tells him about the mark on her arm. There it is. She's marked. And while she's showing him, because this little rat is fucking anywhere, everywhere, and has ears on everybody all the time, he sees them talking and he's like, what is that? What is it? What is it? What is it? Show me right now. And Nina reluctantly shows him and he's like, yeah. Remove it. Don't ever let me see it again. And because Nina and Fabian don't know what it is, Fabian's like, oh my gosh, let's go to my uncle. Let's go to my uncle. You guys remember Fabian's uncle? I do, okay? Fabian's uncle has an antique shop. We visited it a couple times in the first season. He kind of had flirty vibes with Trudy. I wish they would have carried on with that. But they didn't. Anyways, they go to Fabian's uncle's antique shop, but he's not there, no. Instead, we meet Fabian's godfather, Jasper. This is Jasper, so everyone say hello to Jasper. Again, Fabian is oddly well connected in all of this. Fabian calls Jasper the ultimate Egyptian geek. Like, he knows everything about it. Anyways, let's get down to business. Fabian and Nina start asking Jasper about the Mask of Anubis. And he says that no one's really seen it, but there are theories as to where it is and when it existed. And Fabian gets overexcited and he's like, oh my gosh, look at this mark on her arm. And Nina's like, Fabian, no, like, we don't need to show him that. And Jasper's like, oh shit, girl, that ain't good. You are cursed. Jasper says that originally the mark is left by the god Anubis himself, but this lady who we still don't know the name of, left it on Nina instead. So that kind of like really confuses Jasper. And so he plans to ask around in his little Egypt friend group. And Victor also runs to tell Mr. Sweet that Nina has the mark of Anubis, implying that he knows exactly what it is. And he's like, Eric, you have to remove her from the bid and she needs to be put under surveillance. Like, he wants to Joy this bitch. He wants to do what he did to Joy to Nina, and like, let's not do it. And Eric is like, no, not necessary. We're not fucking doing that. So something tells me that Victor hath lost a little bit of his sway that he had in the first season. Like, and that's a good thing, because he was trying to kill these kids all of season 1. So let's reel it in, Raven lover. Okay, let's calm down a bit. In class that day, Nina and Fabian begin discussing the Book of Isis and everything that's going on. And because yet again they are still so loud as fuck, even though they are trying to keep this quiet, Amber overhears and she's like, SIBUNA potential. And Nina's like, no, absolutely not. No SIBUNA potential. And later that night, Nina is kind of like ranting about how she can't spend any time with Fabian and everything and blah 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 blah, and lets it slip that she is being like pursued by a cursey spirit. And Amber's like, wind it back real quick. Cursey spirit? Do you care to explain that even more? Nina then goes into an explanation of everything that is going on, and as they are talking, she reveals that Sarah is at rest, so she cannot help them anymore. And as soon as she says that, the dollhouse starts lighting up and smoking, which is where I believe this picture came from. It's like lighting up and smoking, and they're like, oh my gosh, maybe this is the key. Maybe this is going to help us along the way. So this is like their new surrogate Sarah. It is her dollhouse after all. So Jasper shows up to the school the next day to further help with setting the exhibit up, because if they get the actual exhibit after the bid, Jasper will be like the curator of the museum, and he also gives Victor more information about the Book of Isis. And Mr. Fabian, because it is his godfather, is like, yo, did you learn anything else about the mask and everything we asked you about? And Jasper says no, but I did find somebody called the Collector who is supposed to know all of this stuff, so I'm gonna ask him. Keep in mind, we will be referencing the Collector a lot. Because Louisa Frobisher Smythe made the replica of the mask, it is believed that she has seen it, and Nina's like, maybe, just maybe, the Frobisher Smythes brought back more than just the cup from Egypt. Remember, these people literally went on trial because what they did was like so illegal. But typical British people, I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but you know, the British Museum is known for like stealing artifacts. The Frobisher Smythes are British and they stole a bunch of shit from Egypt. From King Tut's tomb, by the way. That's where they stole most of their shit from. Victor is still trying to figure out what this message from the doll could mean. And when he plays it again, he's also looking at the catalog and sees that there is an artifact called the Books of Old, which he believes could potentially be the Book of Isis. And that night, oh, Fabian, oh, that poor boy, he is literally wanting and yearning for a sweet moment with his girlfriend so bad. He has a little dream about it. They're on a date. And then as he goes in to like kiss Nina, it's not Nina. Nina. Need I say more? Yeah. But you know what? Couples who get matching tattoos stay together. Anyways, Nina also has a dream that night, and when she awakes from it, the dollhouse is like, hey girl, guess what? I got something for you, and opens the secret compartment, revealing a map. Yes. I'll show you a better picture of the map. I have it sideways. That's what the map looks like. The next morning, Nina takes this lovely. The spacing is off. Don't piss me off. And if it looks off, like, please don't get mad at me in the comments. I literally can't eyeball for shit. So the next morning, Nina takes the map to Fabian and she's like, look at this map. It has all these tunnels. It has the Egyptian gods. And at the end, it has like the little mark for Anubis. So maybe that's where the mask of Anubis is. And Fabian's like, oh my gosh, yeah. Hey, by the way, hey girl. Remember the evil lady who cursed you in your dream a couple days ago? I dreamt about her last night too. And Nina's like, oh my gosh, no, please don't tell me she cursed you. Like, please don't tell me she marked you. And Fabian lies. Fabian lies and says no. Fabian, you know that's a fucking lie. And because Nina and Fabian are so poor at hiding anything, even though Nina is trying really hard not to get anyone else involved in this next mystery, because people are getting cursed, by the way. Hey, Amber sees the map and she's like, yes, Sabuna. Like, let's go see, like, what's going on, because it starts in the cellar. And Nina is like, fine. But we need to distract Victor, because Victor is here all the fucking time. That man has no life, by the way. If he's not making that fucking elixir, he's not doing anything. So Fabian ends up distracting him with something for the bid. And Nina and Amber go downstairs to the cellar. And they're looking around. And they're like, where could a door be? And they look at this bookshelf. And Nina's like, oh, there's just a bunch of snakes at the top. And Amber goes, oh, I thought they were 8s. And you know what? Amber 8. Anyways, pretend I didn't do that. Nina's like, Amber, you genius. Remember how many times I have said that Amber is more than meets the eye? Look at her being more than meets the eye, okay? She's solving shit, but they don't know the code. That's the issue. They don't know the code. Anyways, they have to go to school and shit. And after a failed double date with Amber and Alfie, Fabian and Nina sneak down to the bookshelf. In the arms of the angels, fly away from here. Guys, Fabiana is over. They end up breaking up. Like, please don't play with me right now. We're 5 episodes into season 2. I don't want to talk about it. I know I'm not supposed to be mentioning the character moments, but it's so important to me that you guys understand. I've had to watch their breakup like 6 times. It never gets easier. Yeah, they broke up. But it's the day of the bid. It's the next day. It's the day of the bid. It's being held in the Frobisher library. Don't you worry, you guys. Okay? Remember when Fabian was distracting Victor? Well, he was making a little video for the bid, and Victor mentions the year of 1890, and Nina's like, maybe, just maybe, 1890 is the code to the combination lock. And in typical Anubis fashion, because we can never have anything normal with these children, everyone Everything ends up kind of going awry, but don't you worry, they win the bid in the end. Yes, they win the bid in the end, and in a celebratory fashion, because Joy is also on this committee and she's trying to sneak into Fabian's life. Joy hugs Fabian and his short sleeve button up shirt. Ew. Slips up, revealing his mark. Nina flips the fuck out, and rightfully so, because why is he lying to her about being cursed? This is why they broke up. After learning that Fabian has been cursed, and I'm pissed at him for this, Nina no longer wants Amber, Patricia, or Alfie to be involved in any more of this map hunt, the hunt for the mask, and she tries to discourage Amber from being a part of SIBUNA, and she's like, no, my two best friends are cursed, so I'm 10 toes down. Let's go to the cellar right now and try out this combination. They do, and the door opens to reveal like a secret little library. They call it a secret study. That is so see you next Tuesday. And they start looking around this dusty, crusty old place. Oh yeah, Amber says one of my favorite lines in season 2, which is so far so SIBUNA. I am tagging everything with that. So far so SIBUNA. In this library, this secret study, there's a lot of things Robert Frobisher Smythe-ish. And one of those things is a portrait, and Amber's looking at it, and she touches it, and it ends up falling down, revealing a bunch of necklaces. Or amulets, because I already put the label on there, and I don't want to take it off. So she reveals these amulets. These are all Egyptian gods on the amulets. And they are like, what the heck is this? Also in this room are a bunch of journals from Robert Frobisher Smythe. So SIBUNA plans to take a couple of them each so they will all read it, hoping that maybe the journals will give a clue as to what the amulets are or what goes on in the tunnels. And in typical Amber fashion, Amber does not want to read all these dusty, crusty journals, especially because a lot of them are canonically boring. So she goes to Jasper and she's like, so what do you know about like amulets? She calls them omelets, but she's like, what do you know about amulets? And Jasper reveals that they are mostly used for protecting against evil, bad spirits, and bad luck. Later that day, Nina and Fabian sneak down to the cellar to further investigate if there are any more journals that they have to find. And when Nina's like pulling books off the bookshelf, she ends up finding a window into the first tunnel on the map. That next morning, sad news, my friends. Can you even see me when I'm over there? Just barely. Bitch, not me delivering. Unfortunately, the next morning, we find out some bad news. Miss Trudy is leaving as house mother to go work in the exhibition with Jasper. That afternoon, SIBUNA makes another trip down to the cellar into the secret study to see if they can get into the tunnel at all, now that they know that it's there. Fabian points out that one of the amulets has Thoth, the god of wisdom and learning, and he's a bird. And Amber's like, oh my gosh, I remember seeing him on one of these books. Goes to the bookshelf, pulls the book, and reveals that it is a spinning door. So now she is in the tunnel. She's in this tunnel. She doesn't know how to get out. And as she's standing there, a beam of light comes out, goes up, and blinds Amber. So, you know, in typical Anubis fashion, the tunnels are booby-trapped. Thank you, Robert. The portrait of Robert then says, to those who trespass where they don't belong, the beacon of light is your warning song. Your eyes shall not see, all will be dark, until Ra completes his blazing arc. Meaning that Amber is going to be blind for a full day. So Nina notices that the portrait that said this message is wearing one of these amulets, and they kind of theorize that the amulets could potentially protect them from the booby traps. And Amber's like, oh yeah, I remember learning from Jasper that the amulets are used to protect from evil, bad things. And so Nina and Fabian go into the tunnel, and they decide to stand there and test out their theory, which is correct. At the same time they are down in the tunnels investigating, a new bombshell enters the villa. Meet new house mother Vera. This is Vera. Let's put her on the board. After Nina and Fabian return from testing out their little theory, the ghost woman visits Nina and she's like, don't let your friend's blindness delay you. Do I need to give you an incentive? And goes to like mark Amber. She's like, And Nina's like, no. No need to do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. At that same time, Victor is also scheming. Okay, he's running around in the exhibit, and he's noticing that the mark of Anubis that Nina has is on the boxes of these exhibits, and he's like, huh. He thinks this could potentially be the mask, or the Book of Isis, or the Tears of Gold. We then cut to Vera. She is drawing this mark, and then she picks up her little phone and she says, I'm in. Because of Amber's blindness, she cannot join Nina and Fabian on the next SIBUNA outing. They go back through the tunnel, past the first booby trap, and come to a door. A door with no key, a pedestal with nothing on it, and a bookshelf. Fabian believes that maybe the books on the bookshelf will help them in some way, and notices that they are an anagram for Robert Frobisher Smythe, so they begin spelling out his name, but then realize that the name Frobisher is missing, and that it could potentially be in the Frobisher library. As they start spelling out the name too, the pedestal that is empty starts to glow, so they just need to find the other letters for Frobisher so that they can complete whatever the pedestal is supposed to reveal. They go to leave the cellar, but Victor is downstairs mixing up the elixir as always. The ghost woman visits Nina yet again and reminds her to watch the timepiece. What the fuck is the timepiece? That's for me to know and for you to find out later. Trudy returns to the exhibit after Victor has ransacked it. Yeah, that fucking thorn in my goddamn side. And she starts freaking out because like all of the stuff has been ransacked. And Nina and Fabian, who were heading in to go see if they could find the books to spell out Frobisher, encounter her and they're like, we're going to lock them in and then we're going to go get somebody to help. But annoyingly, this motherfucker has the keys to everything. So he's able to get out, okay? He doesn't get caught. He's annoying. I hate him. He was looking for the Book of Isis in the museum. That's why he ransacked it. And he is monologuing to his pet raven, Corbière. Because who else is he going to talk to? And Vera overhears it. And he's like, I was sent on a fool's errand. He's mad. I like when his time gets wasted. Because I don't really like him. Fuck you, Victor. Anyways, Nina and Fabian are able to find 8 of the 9 letters that spell out Frobisher. And they're like, oh my gosh. Who could have this book? It was probably checked out years ago. No, it wasn't, because the logbook that people use to check out books states that somebody checked it out a couple months ago, a year ago, and that person is called Dabed. Yeah, Dabed. Dabed checked out the book. And Nina and Fabian, of course, run late to class because SIBUNA is before everything. Why go to school when you could solve a mystery? And Fabian looks at the wall and he's like, oh my gosh, Dabed. Daphne Andrews, whatever her fucking, I almost said scholarship, whatever her fucking diploma is in. And he's like, Nina, what if Dabed is Mrs. Andrews? So they tell Amber and they're like, okay, we're missing this book girl. We need to search for it. Amber is no longer blind at this point, by the way. They're like, Amber, we need to search for this book. Let's be searching for this book. So they're searching in Mrs. Andrews' classroom after she has left. It's like lunchtime or something. And she ends up walking in on them. And Fabian's like, let me think of something to scare her. And he's like, hey, girl. So Jasper, my godfather, who's running the exhibit, told me that they're missing a book. So can you like make an announcement, because it's like really important and they really need it? And Mrs. Andrews was like, oh yeah, I've never heard of that book, but yeah, I can do that for you. Yeah, I can do that for you. Don't worry about it. And during her lunch break, goes into like sneak into the library to put it back there. And of course, this motherfucker is there, and he intercepts it, and it is revealed that Miss Andrews is no longer a part of the society. And she's like, listen, I don't want to hear none of your shit. I just came to return this book because I was told that y'all were looking for it. So here's this book. And Victor's like, yeah, thank you, girl. And he's automatically like suspicious, because why are the students telling her that she needs to return this book? What is so important about it? Could it be revealing? Does he need to know something that is in this book? And as he like goes to leave with the book, Amber and Nina walk in, and Amber's like, Jasper, Victor's trying to steal this book, so you should stop him. And Jasper's like, actually, Victor, like, you can't remove anything. These books are now part of the museum. Give it here. And Victor reluctantly gives it over. I love when he's defeated by simple things, because I don't like that, man. And when Trudy goes to put it away, Amber's like, no, girl, I got it for you. I got it for you. And her and Nina end up winning the book. Yes, Lord. I love when the bad guys don't get what they want. Especially when the bad guy is Vicky over here. Now that they have the books to spell out Frobisher, SIBUNA travels down to the tunnels and they complete the anagram. They spell out Robert Frobisher Smythe, and the pedestal starts glowing, and then it reveals a cube, and they're like, OMG, this is probably the key to the door, except it's in the shape of a cube. That's not the keyhole, okay? The keyhole is a pyramid. At the same time, at the library, it is revealed that Vera and Jasper do in fact know each other, and that Jasper helped Vera get her job, and she's like, it pleases the collector that you got me this job. And Jasper's like, can I please meet him? And she's like, no, that's not possible. You're not meeting him. No. She then tells Jasper that he needs to apply some pressure to SIBUNA, and Jasper's like, those kids have my godson in there. I'm not doing that. I'm loyal to Fabian. And that kind of like pisses her off. That pisses her off. Because it pisses her off, she's like, so like, I'm gonna do something to them. If you don't like get them to back down, if you don't like see what they know, if you don't like do what I tell you to do when it comes to them, I'm gonna hurt them. I am. And I just want to say that's literally crazy. Victor 2.0 over here. Okay, you guys? Guys, we have a new SIBUNA resident alert. I didn't mention this. Oh, not me punching the mic. I didn't mention this because, one, I don't think any of you care about Mick. You probably don't give a fuck about Mick because he's literally nothing in the American version or English version, whatever you want to call it, of House of Anubis. He ends up leaving. He goes to Australia. Fuck him goodbye. And we get a new American resident. His name is Eddie Miller. I'll give you girls a round of applause. Okay, one of you was already talking about how hot Eddie was. You guys are so excited for Eddie. Eddie is like a bad boy. He doesn't give a fuck, okay? He could care less what is going on. Welcome to Anubis house, Eddie. Welcome. Miss Vera sees that everybody's going out of the cellar. The cellar is so important. And she steals the key from Victor's office and attempts to go down there. But these three walk in as she's doing so she has to walk away. And Nina's like, let's just go down right now, okay? It's already open, so let's just go down right now. And Vera tries to get them in trouble. Victor comes around and she's like, so actually those kids are in the cellar. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? And so Victor travels down there to go yell at some kids, but the children are hiding in the secret library. Unfortunately, because they are almost caught by Victor, SIBUNA decides that they should just go upstairs and forget it for the night. And that night, Amber dreams of the ghost lady. But luckily, she's not cursed, so don't worry about it. However, Vera is suspicious of what these girls know, so she sneaks into the room while they are doing this, while they are at school. It is this day, it's called Donkey Day. It's part of one of Jerome's schemes, and she looks around and she finds a cube, and she takes a picture. She takes a picture, and she's gonna take it, but then Amber comes in to collect some prizes for Jerome's Donkey Day thing, and she's like, oh, don't forget this one, and like puts the cube in the box, and Amber ends up taking it to the school, and Vera ends up sending the picture to Jasper, and she's like, get this fucking cube. Nina encounters Jasper in the hallway, and she's like, oh my gosh, have you like heard back from the collector guy? And Jasper's like, don't ever ask me about that again, and like scurries off. I believe Nina gets upset about something and goes to back to her room. She notices the cube is gone. I didn't exactly write that in my notes because I'm a bad script writer sometimes, apparently. And she sets off to go find out where the cube went, because remember, this is the key to the door. After Vera has failed to steal the cube from the girls' room, she runs to Victor and she's like, they stole the key. They stole the key to the cellar and they're looking for something, but I don't know what they're looking for. But just so you know, they stole the key. And Victor's like, oh my gosh, maybe they know about the Book of Isis, because that's what I'm looking for. Like, essentially, he reveals his whole plan to her. Simp Nation. But don't worry, you guys. I actually shipped them very hard. Anyways, cut back to the school. Jasper is able to get his hands on the cube, and Fabian sees him, like, messing with it. And Fabian's like, where'd you get that? So actually that's mine. Actually I need it back. Give it here. And Jasper does hand it over. Good job, Jasper. It's the one thing you did right so far. So Fabian ends up bringing the cube to Nina. Him and Nina have a little tiff again, and she's frustrated. She's like, I don't know what to do. Like, can't you tell me anything? To the dollhouse. And the dollhouse, like, cracks on the side over here in the shape of a triangle, in the shape of a pyramid. And she ends up showing Fabian and Amber it, and she's like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. And then she looks at the cube, and she's like, huh. Rips that shit out of Fabian's hands, throws it on the ground, and breaks it, and turns it into a pyramid. Nina is right. It is the key. When they sneak down to the cellar into the first tunnel and put the key in the door, it opens to another tunnel. Unfortunately, as they try to cross over, well, so it leads them to another tunnel, and they, like, walk across. But then they encounter, like, this deep cavern. It's a long drop, my friends, a long drop. And as they're looking at it, they hear a noise, and suddenly the roof starts to come down. And they're like, oh, shit. So they gotta crawl back over. I think, like, Fabian almost barely makes it. And then they're like, oh, shit. What are we gonna do? And as soon as they make it back, the ceiling begins to rise again, so all is safe, and they notice a pattern on the floor. And then we hear another message from the psychopath Robert Frobisher Smythe. Traverse the grid with step or hop, follow the sequence, do not stop. All must complete the hopscotch test before the ceiling stays at rest. Amber attempts hopscotch because she is so good at it. She throws a rock and tries to go, but the ceiling starts moving again, so it's not played like your typical hopscotch game. And of course, SIBUNA is talking out loud about what they are doing. So Victor overhears. My bestie Victor overhears, and the fuck-ass Bob King, because even though his hair is short in this picture, in season 2 he has a fob. Okay, he's fobbing around. He runs and he tells Vera, because I guess now she's in on his scheme. After he tells Vera that, Vera then texts Jasper and she's like, guess what, baby, you get your wish. We're meeting the Collector tonight. Oh yeah, we've talked about him for a couple of episodes now. It's time to finally meet this elusive Collector. SIBUNA is in Amber and Nina's room trying to figure out the sequence, and behind them the dollhouse opens and starts showing a pattern that matches the pattern of the hopscotch test. So Jasper is going to meet the Collector, and as he's sitting in his car, he realizes the Collector is in his back seat. I know it doesn't look like anything, but is it a person in a hood? The Collector is a person in a hood using a voice modifier so that nobody knows who he is or who they are. Okay, we don't discriminate here. Jasper then is like, I didn't know this was going to be like this. I didn't know meeting you, getting involved with you is going to be like this. I want out. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And the Collector's like, So you're like stuck, okay? You're stuck. You can't leave because the race for the mask has begun. And it's to the death. SIBUNA, having missed the first sequence that the dollhouse gave, is still talking about what the sequence could be. And Fabian is like, I just don't understand. Like, why would he choose hopscotch? And Amber's like, it's because he had a daughter. Duh. And they're like, oh my gosh, yes. So they go to the dollhouse, they look in, and they see the sequence that is popping up from the floor. The pattern is cow, sheep, dog, duck, and cat. And Victor goes to Jasper and he's like, yo, where's this fucking mask? And Jasper's like, it's not real. So actually it's not real. It's not real. So that means, you guys, that means that Victor, Nina, and the Collector are all shooting for the mask. That's why it's in the middle. Okay, like we're building it. So like this side of the board kind of is foes. I say kind of because you'll understand, because he's kind of neutral, but he's also working with Vera, who's working with the Collector, and they're kind of evil. And of course she's over here because she's evil. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's probably because I wanted some equality here, because this is up here and this is up. You know, you get it. You see the vision? Y'all see the vision? So, in celebration of winning the bid, the school decides that it's gonna have a dance. And bitch, everything is happening at this fucking dance, okay? Okay? Nina and Fabian are dancing and kissing. Okay? There's a lot of drama. Everything is happening. Alfie and Amber are breaking up. So much is going on. And then the ghost lady is speaking to Nina, and she's like, you need to watch a timepiece, girl. Go down the tunnel right now. So Nina goes down the tunnel. She completes the hopscotch game. And when she gets past that and the ceiling doesn't fall, she still has that big cavern chasm thing to deal with. And then the ghost lady appears. And she's like, you know what? You're taking too long. Dink! And pushes Nina over the edge. Don't worry, you guys. It was just a dream. Okay? It was just a dream. Nina's not dead. Confirmed. Nina not dead. Party? What are they having a party for? They're having a party. I think it's just the SIBUNA house because they're also celebrating the bid. So, like, they're having their own house party, but then there's going to be a dance. Are we ever going to get a video essay where I don't insert myself during editing? Look at Kermit back there. Hi, Kermit. So I went and rewatched this episode again to clarify my notes because I had it wrong. Nina, Fabian, and Amber share the morning after the dream that they all had the same dream of Nina falling into the chasm. They leave a party-esque. It's like the opening party. So they officially opened the exhibit. That's what the party is. I was so confused about what party it was. I was confusing it with like this party that they have, I believe, later in the season. They have, I don't know, they have some parties going on this season. So the party that I'm talking about is the opening of the exhibit. The exhibit officially opens in this episode. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. School-wide for the bid, whatever. And they all share that they have the same dream and all decide to go down and complete the hopscotch test, which they do. The issue is still that big cavern. Just a big chasm. I'm going to use those words interchangeably. Deal with it. Just that big chasm there. They don't know what to do about it. They have no way of crossing it. So it's the night of the dance. And these three are trying everything that they can do to avoid living the little dream that they had because, of course, they don't want Nina to die. And Jasper gets a text from the collector, and the collector is like, I need to get into the exhibit. Leave me a key. Thank you. He warns the collector not to come, but the collector's gonna do what he wants when he wants to, okay? During the dance, the collector shows up to the school and confronts Jasper, and he's like, give me the fucking key. Trudy oversees this conversation, and she ends up asking Jasper about it. She was like, what was that about? And he's like, you didn't see that. You need to mind your own business, lady. Like, Nina is overwhelmed with everything that is going on because the dream seems like it's coming through. And for some air, she goes to the exhibit while the collector is there, and she notices a painting of people walking over a crocodile. She almost gets caught by Victor as well as the collector. And when Nina returns to the dance, Fabian is kissing Joy because Joy is wearing the same dress as Nina. He got confused. She took Nina's mask. It was a masked ball. Anyways, Nina gets upset and she ends up running back to the house. Since the dream is kind of coming true, this is not good. So Nina goes down to the tunnels. I guess she's so distraught she thought this would be a good idea. And she completes the test. She's standing there. She almost falls in. But don't worry, you guys. Fabian saves her. We love a couple. We love a couple. Nina points out to Amber and Fabian, because Amber did go down with Fabian, that she thinks a crocodile piece that is sitting propped against the wall is the way that they're supposed to get over, but they don't know how to get it down. But there is like a lever that Fabian, for some reason, it hurts his arm. I don't know why. Ends up pulling, and it releases the crocodile bridge. For some reason, Victor is down in the cellar, probably doing something with the elixir, annoyingly so. And in a rush to make sure that they get to Nina, they dropped the hopscotch key. It's Fabian's key because he's bad at hopscotch, and Vera ends up finding it. So the bridge, that crocodile bridge, is too heavy for the three of them to lift. And Amber suggests that they bring Patricia and Alfie into this little scheme, and Nina's like, no. She said, no, thank you. Actually, I am cursed. Fabian is cursed. People are going to die. I don't want them involved, so we're not going to do that. But Fabian and Amber are all for it. They're like, yes, we should invite them. But Nina, Queen Nina, is like, no, I have final say. No, we're not letting them in. Fabian and Amber decide to go against Nina's wishes anyways and decide to call a SIBUNA meeting. And they're like, you guys want to get back to treasure hunting? Do you guys want to get back to treasure hunting? And Alfie and Patricia are like, yes. Yes, we do. So that night, all of SIBUNA goes down to the tunnels, no matter how mad Nina is, to try to move the bridge. So, slay you guys. This is our first SIBUNA meeting. It's first SIBUNA meeting of season 2. We're so excited. Too bad it sucked, because the bridge is so heavy that they cannot get it across. And when they try, it almost falls down in the chasm. That would suck. Because SIBUNA went down before curfew was called, Victor is a little suspicious because it is a little too quiet in Anubis' house and decides to go down to the cellar to investigate. And he ends up finding the lock at the top of the bookshelf and attempts to get in but is unsuccessful. That means Victor is even more on their trail, okay? They thought they were safe because they only knew the combination to the shelf lock, and they were the only ones who knew that there was a shelf lock. Now Victor knows. And I hate, y'all should know this, I hate when he gets an inch. I don't want him to get an inch. I don't want him to get a centimeter. I don't want him to get anything. I don't want this man to succeed. So SIBUNA has to start practicing lifting. Amber suggests that they lift it up and drop it down. And to make sure that they do it right, they start practicing. And eventually they're like, you know what? We just don't have time. So we're going to go down. We've successfully done it a couple of times. We're going to go try it. And now they did it. Good job, SIBUNA. They did it. They're able to successfully make a bridge. But they're like, who's going to go first? Who's going to go first? I could totally go first, but like, I don't want to. Patricia ends up crossing, and as she does, a pendulum starts swinging. A sharp pendulum, like they're going to cut her. Don't worry, the pendulum doesn't end up harming Patricia. She's able to scoot backwards and safely get across to the same base. But now they must figure out how to get to the next tunnel. Fabian says it's like a song, so once they learn the song, they can successfully cross over the bridge and get to the next tunnel. And Victor's like planning. He's ready, okay? He knows they went down there. He is planning to catch them coming out of the bookshelf and like force them to give them the code. But Vera comes and she's like, no, if you force them, they won't give it. So as the numbers are reversing to let the kids out, she's like, look, there it is. Keep it in your head. We're going to go hide. After the kids make it upstairs, they sneak into the secret library, and Victor's like, oh my gosh, books. The Book of Isis must be here. And as he's looking around, he doesn't find it, of course. They end up finding the amulets. I believe the kids left them on the desk, and Victor wants to take one, but she's like, no, like we can't take them. We have to leave them here so they don't know that we were down here. Essentially what she's getting him to try to do is let the kids do everything, and they will slowly sneak up when the time is right. Victor ends up snooping in Amber and Nina's room because he's annoying and ends up finding the secret compartment with the map, and he decides to run and tell this bum about it. And you know what? No matter how much these two are annoying me this season, why do I kind of ship it? Victor and Vera forever. Forever and ever. I want them to be together. Victor, thinking that he has the ultimate way to get down there, ends up going down to the tunnel, and just like Amber, ends up getting blinded. And Vera's like, oh, so that's what those amulets are for. But luckily, SIBUNA hath taken the amulets with him this time. Okay? They caught on to people watching them and took the amulets with them instead of leaving them downstairs. They took them with them because I believe they went downstairs when Victor was in the blinding tunnel. So when he got blinded, he came out, couldn't see them, and so they're like dipping and dodging, and they're like, okay, so we shouldn't go in there today, but we should definitely keep the amulets on us so that he can't go down in the tunnels. SIBUNA makes the decision to wear their amulets at all times because that's, you know, one of the places that Victor can't search, and keep the spare one in the secret compartment where the map is in the dollhouse. Is like searching for stuff and sends the pictures to Jasper so that he's in the know, because if he can get his hands on it, he needs to, and give it to her so she can give it to the collector. So SIBUNA decides that they're going to go down the next morning. They have practiced the song left and right. They know what they're doing. So they go downstairs to go complete the pendulum. And let me tell you one thing. Fabian's really pissing me off, okay? He's like wobbling. He's wobbling. He's shaking and he's wobbling. You need to chill, Fabian. I'm over it. You need to calm down. Anyways, they end up passing and they come to what they think is a dead end. And they get the map out and Nina's like, "Nope. Says the tunnel goes right through, so where's the tunnel? Where's the door? We need to know. We can't figure it out." That night, Nina dreams of the ghost woman again, and she's like, "You're going too slow. You're taking too much time. I can't take this anymore. You know what? Fuck you. Cursed." Curse, curse, curse. Curse, curse, curse. Yeah, she marks every single member of SIBUNA now. So let's put their marks up there. It's the next day now. It's been a full 24 hours. Okay. SIBUNA is now all marked. I almost said her name again, y'all. I'm losing my mind. SIBUNA is now all marked RIP. The ghost lady has gotten mad enough that Nina is taking too long. It has now been a full 24 hours. Victor has regained his sight, and Vera is still, to my surprise, failing at finding the amulets. So she essentially tells Victor that they should plan to be weak so that the SIBUNA kids will reveal what they have, essentially, so that they will eventually have the upper hand, letting them think they have the upper hand when they don't. Now that the rest of them are marked, Patricia and Alfie are a little upset because they weren't aware that they were going to be marked and cursed for death. They decide that they need to go back downstairs and they need to start working towards figuring out where this new tunnel is. They're back at the dead end. They don't know where to go. It says that there is a tunnel that's supposed to go through there, but there's not. So Alfie's like, let me ram it down. Alfie, yes. So when he tries to ram down what he thinks is the door, he ends up falling over and reveals the actual entrance to the tunnel, which is like a little crawl space. Meanwhile, Victor is researching away, because what better does he have to do if he can't make the elixir of life, and finds out that the mask, the real one, is supposed to weep tears of gold. So this man is going to be going after this now, okay? If he wasn't already after it because everybody's talking about it, he's after it now because it weeps tears of gold, and he thinks that's what he needs to complete the elixir. So in the effort to go into the tunnel, instead of just forcing someone to go first this time, SIBUNA decides that they're going to draw sticks to see who's going to go in the tunnel. Amber ends up losing, but Alfie ends up going in for her because there's bugs, and she don't do bugs. Bugs are not for her. They are not for my girl Ams. Alfie ends up crawling through, but then the crawl space ends up like caving in on him essentially, and he ends up getting stuck. Amber ends up freaking out and tries to go in after him, but can't because she's too afraid of bugs. So Fabian is able to go in and get Alfie out. And then SIBUNA decides that they need yet another round of training. But this time it's like exposure therapy. Amber to bugs. Alfie, what was Alfie to? Alfie's was small spaces, I believe, because of his trauma from season 1. Remember when he got stuck in the cellar and then he saw the scary ritual of the society? Yeah. So his is small spaces, hers are bugs, his is worms, hers are skulls, and Patricia's is feet. I don't think they really have to train her all that much. It's mostly everybody else getting exposure therapy. So they expose themselves to it for a little while, and then they decide that it's finally time for them to go. They've exposed themselves to their fears enough. But as they decide they're ready to go down, Victor's like, you know what? Fuck these kids. Mr. Sweet. Those kids are wearing jewelry which is against school rules, and they get their amulets confiscated. Victor is annoying. I hate Victor. I am at the forefront of the I Hate Victor Club. I wish he would just listen to Vera and not, maybe she has a point. Maybe just, I don't know, don't. So now Victor can go down through the tunnel without getting blinded. And since they've already completed majority of the tunnels, Victor doesn't really have to worry about anything. He really wants that mask so he can get those tears of gold. So yeah, he goes down. And he doesn't get blinded. But now SIBUNA has to figure out how to get their amulets back. So, of course, Victor couldn't venture down to the tunnels without Vera following him. And she's digging through the library like the rat she is. There's a light going through her picture. It's annoying, but I can't do anything about it because it's not my ring light. It's my big light. Anyways, she's digging through the drawers like a rat. And she ends up finding the Book of Isis. it is in a drawer in the desk under like a false bottom. She ends up finding the book. You know, there's a lot of things that shows like to do to me. This one had to piss me off the most. Out of everything that happened this season, this one had to piss me off the most. Because what do you mean it was just in the desk that anyone could open at any time? What do you mean? Robert. I'm sick of his ass. I'm sick. Anyways, before Victor can return to see that she has the Book of Isis, she ends up ripping out the final chapter. Yay. SIBUNA attempts multiple times to get the amulets off of Victor, but this man is just musty. He's musty. They like spray disgusting water on him and he doesn't change. They like make him super itchy with itching powder and he just puts on ointment. Like, they are trying everything and he's just resilient as fuck and I can't stand it. Since everything else has failed, they decide that they are going to make Victor so sleepy that he will fall asleep and they will be able to cut the amulets off of him. And Victor, he's like going to stay up all night, okay? He's going to stay up all night because he finally has the Book of Isis, which is supposed to tell him about the tears of life and whatever. And he's telling Vera about it. He's like, but I don't know where this final chapter is. Like, where could this final chapter be? Like, I need to know, girl. And she's like, I don't know. Maybe Robert tore it out before, like, he put it in his drawer and hid it at the end of the tunnel. And Victor's like, you know what, you're right, girl, you're right. But SIBUNA is masterminding their evil little plan. They end up making him so tired that he ends up falling asleep and passing out. And after an unheard confession about how Fabian wants to get back with Nina and him sneak into Victor's office and steal the amulets back. So now they're back in SIBUNA custody. I love when SIBUNA wins. So, Victor is finally the loser for a second here. He wakes to find that the amulets are gone, and he like wants to go and get the SIBUNA kids. He's like, I want to confront them right away. And Vera's like, no. Let them have this victory, okay? Like, let them have this victory. We're going to come back from it. Don't you worry. And he's like, but I still need to go down there. Like, I need an amulet to go down there. And she goes, don't you worry about that. I've got it. But don't worry. We're going to leave these bums in the past for a second. SIBUNA has finally been able to get back in action. They have the amulets and they set off down to the tunnel to conquer their fears. So Nina is crawling through that crawl space. She was chosen to go this time. And she ends up like hearing her grandma, and her grandma's like, Nina. I'm going to say that this whole time. I love that stupid fucking meme. Nina. And then she ends up seeing a skull, which is her fear. And she like kind of freaks out for a second, but then next to that skull is a lever. So she pulls it and the door opens to the next tunnel, which reveals a room of strings. On the other side of this wall, I will include a picture because you just got to see it. A nice picture is the spider-headed goddess of war with an indent of a spider in the wall. So it's kind of like a web room. Y'all know, have y'all ever been to an arcade? Okay, I have one in my town. Have y'all ever been to the arcade with the laser rooms? Kind of like that. But dangerous. You know what I mean? Unless you're like me and you were pretending like you were in a spy movie. Because I pretended I was in a spy movie every single time. So they just think that they can like kind of walk through this room. They don't really know what to expect. So Alfie attempts to walk into the room, touches one of the strings, and gets burnt. So it's kind of like spider venom. So Fabian ends up noticing that there are hooks placed throughout the room. Now the gang has to figure out whatever that means. And in her quest to make sure that Victor has an amulet, Vera goes into Nina and Amber's room, finds the secret compartment in the dollhouse, and finds the spare amulet. So now he's got one. But because they are still trying to hide the fact that they are on to what SIBUNA is doing and they don't want SIBUNA to know that they have the spare amulet, Victor is going to get a friend of his to make a copy so that they can put it in its place so that SIBUNA knows nothing is amiss. Another tunnel that SIBUNA has to practice for. They have to figure out how to get around these strings. Like I said, laser room at your favorite arcade, okay? If yours had one of those. Mine has one of those. And now I really want to go back to the arcade and I hope they have it. Things change over the years. The last time I went there, they had it. Bitch, I want to go be James Bond. Vera and Jasper are yet again arguing about, okay, girl, you didn't need to move like that. Vera and Jasper are arguing about priorities because remember, Jasper is trying to stay loyal to Fabian over here, but Vera is telling him that he needs to stay loyal to the Collector. Keep in mind, the Collector has also not let Jasper leave. Think there's probably a threat on his life. Anyways, Trudy walks in on this conversation. And she's already kind of suspicious. She's already a little suspicious of Jasper, but she doesn't really like Vera. There are some things that have happened here and there that has made her suspicious of Vera, so she decides to take her suspicions to Miss Andrews. And Miss Andrews agrees, okay? You hold on to that for a second. That's going to be important in a second. During this time, the spare amulet has arrived. It looks exactly like the one that Victor has, and they're able to put it back in the secret compartment in the dollhouse so that SIBUNA knows nothing is amiss. Patricia and Eddie are playing football because she's like, you don't know real football, because for her, football is soccer for us, but he was talking about like American football. And when she's out there doing this football, she ends up losing her amulet. Oh my God, this is so bad. She can't lose this amulet because there's a lot of foes in this school. Okay, specifically people over here who could take this amulet and use it for bad. And she's like, oh shit, I lost this amulet. And when she goes to look for it, we see somebody pick up the amulet. Patricia does not tell her fellow SIBUNA members that she has lost her amulet, even though the plan for that night is to go down and do the spider room. Guys, it's very dangerous, okay? You know it's very dangerous. She could get blinded. Anyways, you guys are never going to believe what I'm telling you next. I'm so excited. We have a moral plotline. Okay. She doesn't have a picture. Sorry. She doesn't have a picture because it's like kind of important, but like not exactly to the main plotline. Anyways, we have a moral plotline. Everybody celebrate. Celebrate good time. Come on. So anyways, all you Mara truthers out there, you're with me when I say this. I was so excited to see a Mara plotline that somewhat got into the main plotline. It was very exciting for me. Mrs. Andrews has hired Mara to investigate Vera, but she is to tell no one about it, okay? So Mara is the head writer of like this newspaper blog thing that the school is doing now, and Miss Andrews knows that she's not only the strongest writer but also the smartest person in the entire school and hires her to investigate Vera. I'm so excited. And in an effort to protect herself from going down into the tunnels that are booby-trapped, Patricia goes into the secret compartment of the dollhouse and gets the fake spare amulet, not knowing it's a fake. Unfortunately, when Patricia is in the first room, she ends up getting blinded because the amulet does not work. And SIBUNA kind of theorizes that it is a fake one, but worries that their amulets might have a time limit. Anyways, Nina wants to take Patricia back up to her room, but Patricia is like, no, you have to go. You have to go down there. You have to investigate. You have to complete this room. Just go. I'll be fine. And while Patricia is waiting in the secret library, she hears Victor making his way. So she blindly has to navigate the tunnels to get to SIBUNA to warn them that somebody is coming. She doesn't know it's Victor. She just knows somebody is coming. All the while, SIBUNA is looking at the spider room and theorizing that in the giant spider hole, something must go. Patricia gets there just in time to hide them from Victor. Victor, like Alfie before him, sees the room and attempts to go in and ends up getting stung. This causes him to retreat. Trudy, at the same time this is all happening, suspicious of Vera and wondering why she, of all people, were chosen to work in the museum, asks Jasper why he chose her, and he's like, you're just the right person for the job. There's truly no one better. And she goes, okay, so like, why not Vera? And he's like, I don't really know her. Actually, I don't really know her, which we know is a lie because we have seen interactions between them, but also because it has been heavily said that Jasper is the one who recommended Vera for the job. So after hiding from Victor, SIBUNA realizes that they need 3 things to hang on the hooks and 1 thing to fit in the big spider hole. Back to Mara. I'm so excited. Back to Mara. Mara goes to interview Mr. Sweet about Vera. That's where she's going to start. He is the one who hired her after all. And he says that she was the only one who applied. She's like, that's really weird because you like put an advertisement out. And he goes, well, I would also say that Jasper gave her a glowing recommendation, and that's kind of why I hired her. After their trip down to the tunnels, Nina and Amber are walking in school the next morning. And by the way, something I haven't mentioned, Jerome has a sister. Her name is Poppy. She's prevalent in this season. She goes in with Jerome's storyline, but since it's not that relevant to the plot, I'm not going to talk about it. Anyways, Poppy is walking in the hall and she is wearing Patricia's amulet. And Nina and Amber stop her and they're like, so that's ours and you need to give it back. And Poppy's like, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Actually, I found it. Well, no, she didn't say she found it. She said her brother gave it to her. And Amber and Nina are like, of course Jerome would do that because that's what Jerome would do. So they go to confront him. They're like, Jerome, so you gave your sister an amulet. He did not give her an amulet. No, we know that Poppy found it on the ground. And Jerome lies because he's evil and because he's annoying and because I can't stand him. He lies. And he's like, yeah, I did. What about it? You say you lost it. Well, it looks like it's hers now. So, like, you snooze, you lose. And Jerome says all of this and does all of this, but then goes to Poppy and he's like, so that's actually somebody's and you need to give it back because what if that person really needs it? If you were a good person, you'd give it back. So she ends up giving the amulet to Jerome. He is, of course, scheming because why isn't Jerome scheming? He's always scheming. And Nina, Amber, Fabian are all talking about, I would say SIBUNA minus Patricia. SIBUNA is talking about how they can get Jerome to give them the amulet back. And they're like, Alfie, like, what do you know? What has he been up to? Alfie reveals the plotline, like I said, with his dad. So Jerome has been after this gem, the Frobisher gem, because his dad stole it years ago. And he thinks it's what led him to bad luck. His dad is in prison. Anyways, Jerome has been after this gem. Jerome has been after this gem that got swallowed by a goose that went down the drain that was stolen by Vera. And Jerome thinks that Vera has it. And Alfie's like, I don't really know if she does, but he thinks that she does. So maybe if we go to Vera's room and find the gem, we can, like, get Jerome to give us the amulet back. So SIBUNA ends up sneaking into Vera's room and finding the gem before Jerome gets there. Jerome goes to find the gem and Nina and Fabian pop out. They pop out. And in my notes, I wrote, a couple that plots together stays together. I love this scene with them, okay? Like I said, in my head, they are still a couple. They never broke up. They just had a little rocky moment. They are still very much together, okay? Love you two. And they're essentially like, you have what we want and we have what you want. So give us what you want. So give us what you want. That's it. So give us what we want and we'll give you what we want. And so they end up trading off. And Jerome is kind of like, yeah, I stole it. Okay. Anyways, thanks for the gem. Bye. When Nina goes to return the spare amulet, or what they think is the spare amulet, it's Patricia's amulet, to the dollhouse, it ends up showing her a sign. She's like, give me a sign, give me a sign. And it reveals a message from the wallpaper. Upon the foundation which this house rests lies the solution to the spiderweb test. To find the armorer in Scholar's Hollow, the silver thread of fate you must follow. The ghost lady, this lady, then comes and appears and she says the raven is poised to swoop in and take the mask. I wonder who that could be. Guys, I wonder who the raven is. Any guesses who the raven is? She also ends up calling herself the Forgotten Ruler, so that's like the first clue we've gotten as to who this lady is, okay? We don't know who she is. She is a mystery to us all. Nina ends up taking this clue to the rest of SIBUNA, and Alfie is like, hey, the suit of armor used to be in the library and Scholars, so why don't we check the library? During that time, Mara, welcome back, Mara, we missed you, sits down with Jasper to interview him about Vera, and she's like, so what do you know? And he's like, nothing. I don't know anything. And she's like, but you recommended her. And he's like, nah, I gotta go. Gotta go. And he ends up leaving. So Mara's like, okay, since that was a dead end, I'm gonna go into Vera's room and investigate her past employers. And as she's searching through Vera's stuff, she ends up finding the final chapter of the Book of Isis. Vera ends up coming into her room when Mara is there and essentially threatens her. She's like, touch my shit again and watch what happens, bitch. As Mara is leaving Vera's room in a rush, Alfie ends up bumping into her, making Mara drop the final chapter. So the final chapter is just sitting in a hallway in Anubis' house. I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, Alfie and Amber were going back to her room to tell Fabian and Nina that they did not find anything in the library. SIBUNA is meeting in there to further discuss what they could have potentially found and talk more about the clue. And Fabian talks about how the last name Frobisher was often given to armorers. They all figure that the answer to this clue could have something to do with the portrait of the Frobisher Smythes that is in the main room / dining room of Anubis' house. During this time, Victor finds the final chapter of the Book of Isis. And I just want to know why he doesn't think that it's suspicious that it's just sitting out on the floor in Anubis' house. I just want to know, Victor. Anyways, SIBUNA removes the portrait of the Frobisher Smythes from the wall, and they see a silver thread hanging there. So Alfie begins to pull it. As they pull it, a spider falls down. A big-ass spider falls down. And on the spider is written a clue. Here's the clue. I'll read it and I'll put it up on the screen. To pass beyond the weaver's throne, lay her daughters in their home. Move with care through her poisoned loom. The scarlet thread may spell your doom. And inside this spider are little spiders. Yes. And Nina, wanted to go down that night and complete the test because remember, this lady is like literally threatening her. They're all marked. They have no choice. They need to find this fucking mask or else they're going to die. But Fabian... I don't want to talk about it. Fabian's on a date with Joy. Fabian's on a date with Joy, meaning that they cannot go because Fabian is their best, laser room guy. But Nina, in retaliation of being mad at Fabian's like, no, fuck it. We don't need him. We're going to go down. We're going to complete this. I want to get it done, and I want to get it done now. Fabian overhears something in the movie that he's seeing with Joy. It's like a special movie for the exhibit. When he returns to Anubis' house to tell SIBUNA, he finds that they're all gone. So he figures that they have gone down to the tunnel to complete the spider mission without him. Remember, never piss your girlfriend off, okay? I'm going to pretend like he isn't cheating on Nina here in my head, but he very much is. Anyways, SIBUNA is crawling through the webs. But because they are not as skilled as Fabian, Alfie ends up touching one of the threads. And he thinks he's fine at first, but then he starts hallucinating. And he's like doing this. I should include the clip. He's doing this. And his head is like almost touching the red thread, which said will spell their doom. But luckily, Fabian shows up right in time. Okay? He shows up right in time. He ends up saving Alfie. All is good. Alfie does not die. Alfie also is the most traumatized out of everyone here, and I'm sick of it. They end up retreating. The next day, Fabian asks Nina to meet in the Frobisher library with him. She thinks he wants to get back together. Like I said, in my mind, they're already together, so he's just going to apologize for going to the movies with Joy. Anyways, they meet up with Jasper, and he's like, I actually wanted to talk to you about the movie last night. So, it's talking about this forgotten ruler. It's about this tyrant. They call her the Forgotten Ruler. She's apparently very evil. She's killed a lot of people. She's not a good lady. She's not a good lady at all. So while Jasper is trying to explain, he can't really remember his name. He's trying to explain who this lady is. She starts calling to Nina, chosen one, chosen one, chosen one. And Nina follows the voice up the stairs to the top of the library where more pieces are on display. And she ends up seeing the crown. And it's this lady's crown. And then suddenly she says the name Sankara. So, welcome everybody. This is Sankara. We no longer have to call her the ghost lady. Guys, I apologize for how crooked either my camera or my thing is. The board in real life doesn't look crooked. I genuinely think my camera is just so fucking top heavy. Or maybe I should record the other way. I don't care enough though right now. Anyway, Victor, in his excitement of finding the final chapter, brings it to Vera. And she is shocked because remember, she had it. So how did he get it? And he's like, girl, I translated half of it. Like, we're so close. Like, we're gonna find the elixir. We're gonna live together forever. Because in my mind, they are dating too. And I ship it. Even though they're really annoying and I really don't like them, they're dating and I ship it and I love it and I hope they're happy together forever. Anyways, Vera calls somebody, I'm assuming it's the collector because she works with him, and tells them that they have a problem now because Victor has the final chapter. Boo-hoo for you, bitch. I like when you lose, even if it's to Victor. Mara is doing her investigating. I'm going to be excited every time she has a plot line, and realizes that Vera is lying about her past employments. She's going to be investigating, you guys. Shout out to the person who was talking about this under my video discussing the characters, where you said that Mara's journalism was very important. It was. This season, not in season 1, unfortunately. So it's finally time for SIBUNA to successfully complete the web room. They end up placing all of the daughters, and a door opens, and Nina's like, I gotta go in now. This lady keeps harassing me. I gotta go. Ends up running into the room, and as soon as she runs into the room, the door closes on her. And every single time Fabian has this dramatic reaction, I have to giggle. Brad Kavanen, I love you. I love everything about you. I miss you. The world misses you, Brad Kavanen. You have gray or white hair now, and I adore you. And I love your acting in this. I'm putting in the clip. He's like, Nina, no! And in his attempt to figure out how to open the door, he realizes that the big ass spider that he's carrying on his back probably fits in the big ass spider hole that is staring him right in the face. He puts the spider in there, the door ends up opening, the web ends up retracting, and they're able to get Nina, and they embrace, okay? Because they're dating. In my mind, they're dating. Nina. SIBUNA ends up traveling down into the next tunnel, where they see a scary face that Nina was afraid of. And they see a room with a bunch of unlabeled chemicals. They're sniffing them. Not safe. Guys, don't do that. Did you guys ever take chemistry? I took chemistry. I'm bad at science, if you didn't know. You're supposed to waft. Anyways, that scary face that they saw, it is actually the goddess of medicine. So SIBUNA believes that they now have to make a solution with all the chemicals to open the next door, because it is stuck shut with goo. And they think the way to solve this is all of the writings on the wall. There are a few different writings on each different wall to help them figure out the solution. No measurements, though, by the way. No measurements. That kind of bothered me when I was watching this. No measurements, but they do have things on the wall, and I'm going to read from my notes. Don't get mad at me. The taste of the great bitter lake, balm of the nomad, oil of the Egyptian wedding flower, and sweet scent of morning essence. Plus one more. I forgot to write that down. It was something about Prometheus. I'm sorry. They think the clues are the chemicals. Anyways, sorry I didn't write that down. You guys, I'm so sorry. Alfie gives us another great idea, just like he did with the library, and suggests that they go down to the tunnel, collect samples of the chemicals, and bring them up to the lab, to the chemistry lab, to figure out what they are, so that they can solve the clues easier. And all the while, Miss Mara, she's on a manhunt. And I'm excited. Mara is going to Vera's previous employment places, and when she arrives at, I believe, a manor that she allegedly said she worked at, she ends up talking to a groundskeeper, and she's like, so can I talk to this guy? This is a reference. And the guy's like, no, you can't, because he's been dead for 20 years. He died. Yeah, he died. And she's like, huh. So every reference that she has given me, either she didn't work there at the time, or they've been dead for 20 years. Suspicious. Victor, ever nosy and can't listen to anything that Vera says, ends up traversing down to the tunnels to see the progress that the kids have made. And of course, because he spent all this time making the elixir of life, he solves these riddles in no time. And you know what? Honestly, I was sitting there and I was watching it and I was writing the script, and I was like, I think SIBUNA should just let Victor have the reins on this one. He's made them do everything else. Everything else dangerous he has made them do. He should just solve this. It's the least he could do. Because Sankara has so much leaning on this mask for some reasons that we don't know yet. At least I know and you don't. Sorry. She notices that Victor is progressing in this chemical puzzle, and she gets mad. And she goes and wakes up Nina. And she's like, Nina, you need to watch this timepiece. The raven, he's swooping in. He's getting close. You need to do something about it. SIBUNA has already found the first chemical, the bitter taste of the Great Lake, which is salt. They end up finding the second one, which I believe is the Egyptian wedding flower. Nina reveals to Fabian that Sankara has said that Victor is watching them, and Fabian's like, you know what? Let's watch him back then. If he's going to do that to us, let's do it back to him. At this point, Mara has done all her research and hands over her article to Mrs. Andrews. And Mrs. Andrews is like, great, thanks. And Mara's like, so let's go public. Mrs. Andrews is like, no, I just wanted the evidence. I don't want to go public with it. But Mara really wants to go public. She really wants to expose Vera. But Mrs. Andrews is like, let me take this to Mr. Sweet. And then if everything like works out, we can go. Of course, Victor is updating Vera on his doings. And he's like, I'm going down there, girl, and I know how to make this. And she's like, don't fucking do it. Like, stop. But Victor, my king, decides that he's not going to listen to her. And he goes downstairs and he ends up solving the chemical puzzle. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Victor. This is your one area expertise. You are allowed to solve this puzzle, in my personal opinion. Just let them get the victory. You can solve this puzzle. Ignoring Vera's wishes, because yes, he would, Victor is down in the cellar and he's playing with some chemicals. Fabian and Nina have followed him down because remember, they're watching him. And Nina's like, what if he found the solution? What if he advances in this next tunnel? Like, we're fucked. And he's like, no. And Fabian is the he. He's like, don't worry, girl. It's probably just the elixir of life. Like, you need to calm down. Mara, who's upset that her article is not going to be posted after all the hard work and all the evidence she found, is venting to the fellow journalist people, one of which who is Eddie. And Eddie's like, if you're that proud of it and you think it's that good, post it, girl. You got it, girl. And she does. She posts the article slandering Vera and calling her a liar. Nina and Fabian, thinking that Victor is brewing the elixir again, goes and tells the rest of SIBUNA. This kind of clues them in that Victor is on their trail, even though they already kind of knew that. And Vera, distraught as ever for being called a liar and a faker, goes to Victor and she's like, Victor, how can Mara write this article about me? Like, that's so mean. Like, she's so mean. And Victor does not play about his girl. If you thought Fabian didn't play about his girl, Victor don't play about his girl. And he marches into Sweet's office and he's like, Sweet, right now, put Mara on trial. And Sweet is like, so actually we don't do that. That's not what we do. And Victor says, I don't give a fuck. Put that bitch on trial right now. During this time, SIBUNA finds the third chemical, which is cinnamon. The essence of morning, okay? Cinnamon, it's in your breakfast. Knowing that they have 3 out of the 6, I believe, chemicals, if I'm correct, Nina and Fabian want to go down to the cellar to like collect the samples and smell the stuff and start trying to make the solution. They are not allowed. They have to be witnesses of Mara's trial. And even though they are stuck, Victor is not. Okay? He's not. Victor ends up successfully making the solution. They really should leave it to Victor, okay? He's not going anywhere. This angers Sankara, though. She is very mad, and she says that Nina will pay for her failure. Victor reveals the next tunnels. Congratulations, Victor. This is your first tunnel. I don't know which one it is. I want to say... Is this the your one? I don't know which one it is. It's one of these tunnels. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's one of these tunnels. Anyways, he's in the new tunnel. It's a room with horns. Back at the school, Mara is attempting to make her case, but things are not going right. Vera has something to counter every single piece of evidence that Mara is bringing to the plate. It is honestly very sad. Mara is getting absolutely defeated by a bitch with a fuck-ass bob. The fuck-ass bobs are running this season, my friends. During this time, they take like a 10-minute recess because Eddie does something to piss off Mr. Sweet. And Amber, Nina, and Fabian run down to the cellar to complete the chemical puzzle, which they do. And it kind of travels to the door, but since Victor has already completed it and he set it back up like he wasn't down there, it doesn't open quite like what it's supposed to open like, and Nina becomes suspicious. They discover the room with the horns as well, but before they can figure out what is going on, Amber says that she wants to get back to the trial to make sure that Mara is okay. When they return to the trial, it is like the sentencing time. Mr. Sweet is pissed off because of something Eddie did, and so he expels Mara. Yeah, bye-bye, Mara. Mara is no longer going to be a resident of Anubis house. And that, my friends, is where we're going to complete part 1 of season 2. Yeah, a real cliffhanger to lead you guys on. This is episode 23 of 45. Part 2 will be 24 through 45, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to post it a week after I post this one. I know you guys liked having them back to back. That's just a lot of work for me. Okay, I'm going to be quite frank with you. So, if you want, in the meantime, rewatch season 1, all of season 1. Rewatch my Discovering the Characters video. Watch the Vampire series. Watch the Driver's License video. That's just about all I can say. I will see you guys next week with part 2 of season 2 of House of Anubis. Bye!